بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
So this, what Ibnul Qayyim rahimahullaah ta'ala mentions here, is also mentioned in that book, Mukhtasar Minhaj al-Qasideen. And it is derived from much of what proceeded from the statements of the Salaf and from text in the book of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. He said that a parable has been given of the nafs. A parable has been given of the soul. That the soul with its possessor in the body of the person, and with the heart of the person, and so on and so forth, and that the soul with the person is like people in a partnership, in a business transaction, like partners in a business venture. Like partners in a business venture. They are like partners in a business venture. He said, and just as the objective of partnership, and this is taken from the statements of the Salaf, as we mentioned in previous statements, and as Ibnul Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala and others have mentioned, that لا يكون العبد أو لا يحاسب عبد نفسه حتى يكون معه, that the slave has not reckoned with himself until he is with himself, أشد محاسبة من شريك بماله, until he reckons with himself more severely than a person will reckon with his business partner. You want to have strict accounting, strict financials, strict records of everything that was earned, everything that was spent. Where is this money going? What is the ra'sul mal? What is the condition of the initial investment of the capital? And what is the condition of al-ribh, of the profit? Keeping a strict record, right? Keeping a strict record of everything. He said this is how muhasabah is done. That a person reckons with his nafs, like, meaning his heart, his iman in his heart. As we mentioned yesterday in the khutbah, as we heard the statements of a Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala, his iman says to his nafs, his iman says to his nafs kada, his iman says to his nafs kada, meaning the iman in his heart has an argument with his nafs, back and forth, back and forth. Why are you trying to destroy us? Why are you trying to destroy us? Why did you do that? 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 Checking himself, no matter what his hala is, as regards his good deeds, as regards his bad deeds, as regards his blessings, as regards his test. He is in every situation, as Al-Hasan al-Basri said, yuhasib nafsa, doing muhasabah, accounting. Accounting. It is like a business transaction. It is like a business transaction between partners. He said, and then he gives us a science of muhasabah. He gives us a science of muhasabah, how it is done. He said that the first thing that he does is al-musharata ala ma yaf'alu sharik awwalan. The first thing that he does is they come to the terms of agreement. Ahmad ibn Qudama rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that this is done every day. As the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, كل نفس يغدو فباعي نفسه فمعتقها أو موبقها. Every person begins their day. باعي نفسه. They are bartering with what? With their soul. They are doing business with what? With their soul. What is at stake is their soul. فَمُعْتِقُهَا أَوْ مُوبِقُهَا. Either they will set it free or either they will destroy it. Every day a person goes to the first thing he mentions here is al-musharata. Al-musharata is that a person looks at their eyes, their ears, their mouth, their hands, their feet, and their thoughts. They look at their eyes, their mouth, their ears, their hands, their feet, their body in general, and their heart, their thoughts. And they are steadily, and the first thing is that they come to terms of agreement. That we are going to restrict ourselves to that which is pleasing to Allah Ta'ala. We are going to restrict ourselves. We're not going to look at anything that Allah hates, or listening to anything or anyone that Allah Ta'ala hates, speaking about things that Allah hates. We're not going to listen to the people of innovation, or to music, or to this or that or the third. We're not going to watch that which is forbidden, or look at those people that are forbidden, or look at those mughriyat of the dunya, any of those things that will be a temptation for us in the dunya, that will incite us to the haram and be a temptation for us. We're not going to use our eyes in a way that Allah hates, or our ears in a way that Allah hates, or our tongue in a way that Allah hates, or our hands in a way that Allah hates, or our private parts in a way that Allah hates, or our feet in a way that Allah hates. This is the beginning. Al-Musharata, the initial agreement between your iman in your heart and the iman in your heart and your nafs. They are business partners, and this is ra'sul mal. And these things this is what they use to make money. This is what they use for the business that they are engaged in. They need to have ra'sul mal. They need to have their capital. What is their capital? Their eyes, their ears, their hands, their feet, their private parts, and their hearts, their thoughts. Right? This is ra'sul mal. This is ra'sul mal. They said that we are only going to move forward, and we are not going to fall behind. We're going to profit today, and we're not going to fall behind. We're not going to be worse tomorrow than we were today. This is every day. They begin the day when the adhan of Fajr wakes them up, or their alarm clock wakes them up. They say, okay, here we go. You hit the clock. You're punching in. You're at work. And you have al-musharata. And you have al-musharata. And you tell yourself, you remind yourself, look at what a person says after making the taslim for Salat al-Fajr. He asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for beneficial knowledge. Rizqan tayyiban, amalan mutaqabbala. Allah, I ask you for beneficial knowledge, pure sustenance, and amalan mutaqabbala, and actions that are accepted by you. So what he engages in throughout his day is all ibadah. When he is seeking beneficial knowledge, it could be knowledge of the deen or the dunya. And if he's learning the knowledge of the dunya that is halal and beneficial, he is learning it for the purpose of providing for his family, taking care of his children, being an asset to the community, having a skill set to be of a benefit to the Muslim community, these sorts of things. So his seeking of worldly knowledge becomes, as the Shaykh Sa'di rahimahullaah ta'ala mentioned in his writings over and over again, it becomes ibadah. It becomes ibadah, and it has a ruling of ilmun shar'i. It has a ruling of ilmun shar'i as regards its thawab, as regards its reward, so long as it is beneficial knowledge, so long as it's truly beneficial knowledge. And not just khuz'abalai, because a lot of people in the universities are learning psychology and civics and world government and world religions, and we're talking about learning something that is actually going to be of a benefit to you and your family. And then every day he wants to learn more about his religion. He wants to learn more about his religion. Rizqan tayyiban, and he is seeking his wealth. When he is earning his wealth and when he is spending his wealth, he is in a state of ibadah if he makes his niyyah correct. Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, he said, كُنَّا نَعُدُ أَفْضَلَ الْأَعْمَالِ الْكَسْبُ مِنَ الْحَلَالِ وَالْإِنفَاقُ عَلَى الْعِيَالِ. We used to consider the best of actions that a person earns his money from the halal and spends it upon his dependents. It's the best of actions. It's ibadah. It's ibadah. وَعَمَلًا مُتَقَبَّلًا. إِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. Right? When you are done with attending to your dunya, then go into the state of working for your hereafter. So the person is always in a state where no matter what he is doing, if he is busy with his dunya, he is progressing in his hereafter. His intention of that is to earn the halal money. Al-istighna bil-halal an al-haram. He suffices himself with the halal from the haram. That's ibadah by itself. He has left off other things that may have been much more profitable immediately in this world because they are harmful to the creation and forbidden by Allah Ta'ala. And whoever leaves something for Allah, Allah will give him what is better than it. And this job that he is doing, this halal money that he is making, and these halal services that he is providing of benefit to other people, he is rewarded for that. And every morsel that he puts in the mouth of his children, in the mouth of his wife, and even in his own mouth in one hadith is a sadaqah. He's giving sadaqah by feeding himself from the halal. So if he is busy with knowledge of the deen of the dunya that is beneficial, if he is busy with halal sustenance, if he is busy with the general righteous deeds that people do of reading the Quran and making dhikr and so on and so forth, and beneficial knowledge included in that, and teaching included in that, if he is busy with these things, then he is always moving forward. He says that when? After the taslim of Fajr. To remind himself that this is what he does with his day. This is what he does with his day. He attends to beneficial knowledge, halal rizq, and actions that will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the first step, al-musharata, the initial agreement. And he does this daily. We are going to restrict ourselves. We are going to restrict ourselves, as the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said about the tongue of the person. That the human being, he begins his day, وَالْعَضَاءُ تُكَفِّرُ اللِّسَانِ. And the عَضَاءُ تُكَفِّرُ اللِّسَانِ doesn't mean that they say the tongue is a kafir. That's not what takfir means here. تُكَفِّرُ اللِّسَانِ means تَخْضَعُ لِلِسَانِ. They submit, they humble themselves to the tongue, and they say, إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ بِكَ اتَّقِ اللَّهَ فِينَا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ بِكَ إِنْ أَسْتَقَمْتَ أَسْتَقَمْنَا وَإِنْ أَعْوَجَجْتَ أَعْوَجَجْنَا. And he fear Allah concerning us. We are only as you will be, speaking to the tongue. If you are straight, we will be straight. If you are crooked, we're going to be crooked. And the person, as Ibnul Qayyim rahimahullaah ta'ala, he said you could taste the flavor of what is in a person's heart by what spouts off of his tongue. Al-qulub kal-qudur taghli bima fiha. Ibnul Qayyim, he said in Ad-Da'u wa-Dawa that the hearts of people are like pots. They bubble over and boil over, spilling out what is in them. And you can taste the flavor of what is in a person's heart by what comes off of his tongue. So the correctness of the tongue is a sign of the correctness of the heart. And if the heart is correct, then the tongue will be correct, and if the tongue is correct, then the body will be correct. If you are upon istiqamah, we will be upon istiqamah. If you are upon al-i'wajaj, if you are upon something mu'awwaj, if you are upon crookedness, then we're going to be crooked. If you stray, we're going to stray with you. You're going to take us where you go. And so the person, he begins his day with this musharata. This is the first stage, al-musharata. Thumma bimutala'ati ma ya'mal. He said then the second thing is what is called al-mutala'a wal-muraqaba. If a person has a business, if they have a factory, if they have a store, if they have a restaurant or so on and so forth, and they say, okay, this is the plan, this is what we need to do today, this is our quota. Go team, go, who? Right? And then the supervisor leaves. The boss leaves. What are the employees, what are the defunct employees going to do once you leave? And be sitting around talking about the movies they watched last night. You may go in the back and smoke a cigarette. They're not going to be running the machines. They're not going to be attending to the customers. They're not going to the end of it. There has to be what? After the initial agreement, after saying this is the Ra'sul Mal, this is the capital, this is the plan, this is what we are working with, we need to profit. As Ibnul Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he said about the statement of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, لمن شاء منكم أن يتقدم أو يتأخر. He said فليس ثم إلا تقدم أو تأخر وليس ثم قسم ثالث. He said about the statement of Allah that Allah revealed this Quran for whoever amongst you wills to move forward or fall behind. He said a person is either moving forward or falling behind. ولا وقوف في الطريق البتة. And there is no such thing as staying still. Okay, so we need a prophet. You've made the initial agreement. Remind yourself every day, we're going to be better today than we were yesterday. We're going to be steadily progressing, learning more, doing more, teaching more, implementing more, and be patient upon that. And our families are going to be better because we're responsible for them too. We have to save ourselves and the anfus of our families to the best of our ability. Right? This is what we're going to do. This is the plan team. Okay? And then he has to supervise. He has to supervise. He has to carry out al-mutala'a wal-muraqaba. What is meant by al-muraqaba? It was mentioned by the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as Ahmad ibn Qudama said in Mukhtasar Minhaj al-Qasideen. He said in the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. Is that you worship Allah as though you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does that mean? As though you see Allah. استحضارا عظمة الله. The ulama, they say, is that you worship Allah constantly being cognizant of the tremendousness and greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you are shy of Allah. وَنَظْرُ اللَّهِ إِلَيْكَ, and that Allah is watching you. That you are shy of the fact that Allah is watching you. That you watch over yourselves knowing that the one that is greater than everything is watching over you. And sees everything that you are doing and hears everything that you are saying. And you watch yourself and observe yourself as regards your performance after the initial agreement, the initial stipulations, al-musharata, that the shurut have been laid out. You make an initial stipulation with yourself that you are going to limit yourself to progressing and profiting today. Then the second thing, you have to supervise yourself, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching you. The third thing he said, ثُمَّ بِمُحَاسَبَتِهِ ثَالِثًا. And then third, if a person is in a business transaction with their partner, the third thing that they do is that they perform the accounting. And the accounting is of two types. Reckoning with yourself before the action, and reckoning with yourself after the action. Reckoning with yourself before the action, and reckoning with yourself after the action. Now, inshallah, we'll read from the details of that. ثُمَّ يَمْنَعُهُ مِنَ الْخِيَانَةِ إِنْ اطَّلَعَ عَلَيْهِ رَابِعًا. And then after he does that, after he checks himself, he takes some time at the end of his day, before retiring at the end of the day, and he sits with himself and he thinks about, what did he do today? And he knows that the angels hold the pen for 6 hours before they write his bad deeds. And is there anything that he needs to ask Allah's forgiveness for before it is written down? Before it is written down. And once it is written down, he knows he will see it on the Day of Judgment. Is there anything that he needs to check himself about? That reckon with himself about? Checking yourself before the action, Ibnul Qayyim, he mentions 4 things. Checking yourself after the action, Ibnul Qayyim, he mentions the 6 things of the right of Allah as regards worship. We could probably sit and go through the words of Ibnul Qayyim rahimahullaah ta'ala amongst ourselves for 6 sessions, taking for each of those 6 things its own session of reckoning with yourself after the action. At the end of the day, reckoning with yourself at the end of the day, those 6 things that are the right of Allah as regards every act of worship. He said, and then fourthly, after al-musharata, which is the first thing, the initial agreement and stipulation. After, secondly, al-muraqaba, al-mutala'a, any supervision. After, thirdly, al-muhaasibah, which is of 2 types, before and after the action. The fourth thing he said is that if he finds any treachery, after the reckoning, after he sees that he has reckoned with himself, and then he sees during the reckoning with himself and the checking and balance that he goes through at the end of the day, And he looks and he sees the khiyana. He sees the treachery that he has done, that he prevents himself from any further treachery in the future. This is what is called al-mujahada. Al-mujahada. And before that they say al-mu'ataba. Al-mu'ataba. Al-mu'ataba is that a person scolds himself. As they reported from Umar radiallahu anhu, that he used to say out loud, they would hear him rebuking himself, Ya ibn al-Khattab, Anta Amir al-Mu'mineen, ماذا أردت بهذا لما فعلت كذا. And he, what did you intend by this thing? Why did you do that? Why did you do that thing? And that a person scolds themselves, that they rebuke themselves. After the muhasabah, what is left is rebuke. They rebuke themselves. They rebuke themselves. And then after that, al-mujahada. Now it's on. Every day you're trying to destroy me, O nafs. I'm going to beat the mess out of you. I can't pull out of this business transaction. I'm stuck with you. But tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is a new day, and we're going to war. You want to play dirty? Here we go. I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you the medicine that you need so that you stop harming us. This is the process that a person goes through. Where are we compared to the Salaf?